Alright, hi, it's Jen from Peak Zenith, and I'm going to show you guys my Harri deck profile. So for grade 3s, we run 4 of OG Harri.
Is that an SP?
Yes, it is, except for one, and it bothers me.
It looks pretty hairless to me.
Hey, you rude. Alright, so he's your main grade 3 currently. So he's got a GB2. When he attacks, you can call something from Soul and give it plus 3k. Keep in mind it's not Magia, so you can't call a Paratrooper and get Paratrooper skill off, but it's still pretty nice if you can't stride. And then he's got an on-stride Magia, Counterblast 1. When you stride, you can Soul Charge 1, and then choose a card from your Soul and call it, and it gets plus 5k. So he can make some magic numbers just right off the bat if you need to. He's mainly good for the Soul Charge, and also the power's nice as well. So he's your main grade 3. And then we run 3 copies.
Is that another grade or SP?
Yes, it is. It's called the SP pack. But alright, so we run the 3 of the new Harri. So he's got a GB2, Counterblast 1. It's once per turn. When something is put into Soul at the end of the turn, you can Counterblast 1 and put a grade 3 to Soul, or from Soul to hand. So if you need a stride fodder, you can use it. He's not as Counterblast heavy, so if you ride him, you're not Counterblasting as much, so it's not too bad of a cost. And then he has a, when he's placed on Vanguard, you look at the top 2, put 1 to Soul, 1 to bottom of deck. So when you ride him, he can give you some fodder for his on-stride skill, which is when you stride, you can Soul Blast 1, call something with Magia to rearguard. So while he does save your Counterblast, he does kind of get rid of your toolbox a little bit, but he's not too terrible. For grade 2s, we run 4 of arguably the best grade 2 in the deck, Darkside Princess. She has 1 skill and it's not GB restricted, so you can rush with her when your opponent's on grade 2. So when she attacks a Vanguard, you can have her get 5k. If you have her get the 5k at the end of the battle, she goes into Soul. So she's a 14k beater for no cost, and it's not GB restricted, so she's really nice. And then we run 3 Face Magician Lapping. I have no idea why this card is so expensive. So she has an Magian Act ability. It's once per turn, GB2. Counterblast 1. If you have a Vanguard with Harri in its card name, you can pay the cost, call a grade 1 behind her. And then she also has an auto when she attacks. She's not GB restricted either, the second skill. Soul Charge 1 if you have a Harri Vanguard, and then if you Soul Charge with Magia, she gets an additional 3k as well as a 2k for just Soul Charging. So she can also be a potential 14k beater, but she's not as consistent, and deck out is an issue, so I generally don't prefer her over a Princess, but she's not too bad. And then I run 3 Red Star Dual Horn, basically because my build focuses on old Harri, so he's not Counterblast heavy, and usually I end up having a giant Soul. So he's got a skill when he's placed on rearguard from Soul, he gets 2k, so he's an automatic 11k beater. And then he has another skill, GB1, Soul Blast 1. When it's placed, you can call another thing behind it for the cost of Soul Blast. So basically, Periton, just Soul Blasting instead of Soul Charging. He's pretty nice, I think. And then I also run 2 Periton, just because if I happen to misride my grade 1 and not have Cutie Paratrooper, he's still pretty nice. Doesn't get the extra 5k, but he's just, when he's placed, Soul Charge 1, call something behind him. So he's still really nice as well. For grade 1s, We run 4 of the grade 1 that's holding the clan on its back currently. So Cutie Paratrooper, she's got a auto GB1 when she's placed on rear guard due to a Magi ability. If you have a Vanguard with Harri, you can soul charge 1 and call something in the same column and give it plus 5k. So she's really nice. She can make some big power columns. She's your main grade 1. Like, no Harri deck runs less than 4, so yeah. And then we run 4 Stride Fodders.
Is that an SP?
Yes, it is an SP. Isn't it pretty? But okay, so it's a very stride heavy deck. You want to be able to stride, so run 4. All of your grade 3s are Harri, so you really won't be searching out Harris because either grade 3 is a perfectly good ride. But so Stride Fodders, yeah. And then I run 2 Purple Trapezist. She's really nice because if you call during the battle phase, she can get you more calls, basically recall your field if you, for whatever reason, can't. So she's really nice. She's an older card, hard to get a hold of. So basically her skill, when she's placed on rear guard, you can choose another Pale Moon, put it to soul, and then call something else. So she's still pretty good. And then we run 4 Darkside Mirror Master. You're the countercharge PG for Pale Moon. This is your only source of countercharge, and the deck is extremely counterblast heavy. I'm actually considering taking out 1 for a vanilla PG just for the case of Drag Strider, because PGing is nice. So basic PG skill can only protect your Vanguard, but that's usually all you're going to have on the field, and then when she goes to drop, if you have another one, you can countercharge 1. For grade 0s, we run 1 Cat Knight. He's arguably the best starter in the deck. So he's got a GB1 from Soul. When something is placed on Vanguard, whether you re-ride or stride, he can call himself. And then he's got another skill. When he is called, you can call something else for free. So he's really, really nice to just build up your board. So, yeah. And then we run 4 of the Fighter's Collection Heal. You don't really use it for the skill. I basically run it for aesthetics only because I think he's really cute. And heal triggers are nice. So. And then we run 4 of the Harri crit because this is your draw engine. You can recycle them like there's no tomorrow. And if you call it with Paratrooper, she hits a magic number. So she's really, really nice. So you only really need 1 in soul. And then you can just keep reusing them to get more draws. So really nice. And then we run 4 Silverthorn Assistant Dixie because not decking out is nice. Believe me, people will try to stall you. I once had a friend try to stall me and my deck ended up being nothing but all 4 of her. So you basically just use her for the shuffle back skill because you're not going to have a Silverthorn Vanguard. So, yeah. And then we run 4 Prankster Girl of Mirrorland. Basically, if you soul charge her, then she can go back to deck and put something else in. I mainly end up using her to grab like a crit or like a paratrooper if I don't have one. So she basically fixes your toolbox should you need it. It's also good for like deck thinning later in the game. Just put your grade 3s or whatever to get them out of the deck. So, and then for the G zone, I'm running 2 Jester Dragon. I'm going to be honest, I never really go into him anymore. But he's still pretty nice, like if you are close to decking out, it's late in the game and you just need to call some columns to attack with that get some power. So basically, when he's placed, pay the cost, he flips another copy of himself, and then everything called from Soul gets plus 2k. And then he also has a continuous GB3. He gets a crit. And so he's pretty nice, but I just never really go into him because there's just much better strides. And then the main stride of the deck that is currently not legal, but will be after set 14, is Masquerade Master Harri. So I have the Japanese version currently because the English version's not out yet. So basically, he's got a Vanguard, obviously. When he attacks, counterblast 1, flip another copy of himself, put 2 of your rear guards to Soul, and then you can call up to 3 cards. It's nice because he targets circles and not rear guards. So against like Link Joker, you can put your locked things back to Soul to recall out things. And then he also has a continuous, all of your rear guards get 3k for each face-up Harri. So even the original Harri stride, if you have it face-up, he gets power from that as well. So you can get a lot of multi-attacking and then beefy columns just from him. So he's the main stride now. And then we run 2 Dreamy Axel Millward. I don't use her much either, but she's still really nice because she can get some on-hit pressure as well as some beefy columns. So she has an act once per turn, GB2, Soul Blast, and then flip anything. You get to call 2 things from Soul and then give them 4k. And then if you have another of her face up, you can choose a rear guard and give it an on-hit skill that when it hits, you can call something over it. Well, over a rear guard. So if you give this skill to your Vanguard, if your Vanguard hits, then you can call something over another rear guard. So she's still really nice if you need like the on-hit pressure, but I never really go into her much. And then we run 1 Parallel Megatrick Fairfield.
Is that SGR?
Why yes, look at how gold and shiny it is because unlike Buddy Fight, this is the best we've got. So she's really nice.
Buddy Fight, the superior game?
Not superior game, it's expensive. But she's got an act once per turn, GB3, counterblast 2, and then choose a card from Soul and drop zone and put them back to deck. She's good if you're getting close to deck out or you just need triggers back in deck, but her cost is pretty massive since the deck does not have enough counter charge. And then choose a card from Soul, call it to rearguard, and it gets 10k in a crypt. And then you can also, you have a red text skill that you can give to it if you so desire, which is Soul Blast 2, and that unit cannot be targeted by card effects, which does include triggers, but like say you're playing against Kagdo and you just don't want them to denial griffin you, use that skill. You're not going to be able to stand it if you get a stand trigger, but they're not going to be able to get rid of it with their denial griffin. So she's really nice because not decking out is nice, but I don't really use her that much. I usually don't survive to the point where I'd actually need her. And then I run 1 copy of the original Dragon Masquerade Harri. So he also counts, like I said, toward the other Harri 3k. And then, so he's an auto, GB3, counterblast 1, and then choose a rearguard, or counterblast 2, sorry. Choose a rearguard and put it to Soul. When he attacks, you can pay the cost. If you do, call 3. And then if you have 5 rearguards, your opponent chooses 2 things and puts them to Soul. So he can potentially somewhat wipe your opponent's board as well as get you some multi-attacking off. He's got a pretty massive cost, but he's still really good in my opinion. And then I run one of the GB8. I have honestly never used her. I usually don't survive to GB8, but so when she attacks, you can call 5 things from Soul. They get 5k, and then they're regarded as Abyss Dragons, and she gets a ride tech skill for each of your things that are Abyss Dragons. She gets 10k. So if you have called 5 things and they are all regarded as Abyss Dragons, she gets plus 50k on top of her. So she's really nice. Haven't had a chance to use her, but she's still good. And then for G-Guards, I run one Kinesis Megatrick Coulthard. I rarely use him, but so he's got the flip skill, and then if you have one of each grade in Soul, he gets plus 15k shield. So I mean, he's pretty nice if you need just a really big shield, but I generally don't ever need him. And then I run one Chainsaw Megatrick Furnival in case I need to like build my toolbox of it. So when he's G-guarded with, look at the top 3 cards of your deck, put 1 to Soul and the rest to the bottom, and then if the thing you put to Soul was a grade 1 or higher, he gets plus 5k shield. So he's not there for just massive shields, but he does get you a thing to Soul if you need it. You can also put a Prankster Girl to Soul and still get her skill off. You won't get the shield, but you still get a thing to Soul that's preferable. And then we run 2 Doting Mannequin Harlequin Maja. So she's a free 5k because you're going to be on a Harri, which has Magia. So she gets 5k if your Vanguard has Magia, and then she has another skill that goes along with that. You can call something to rearguard. So say you're against like Diablo and you guard one of their rearguards with this, you can basically call a column to sack for Phantom Lust or Diablo. So she's really nice. And then she has another skill. If by chance you don't have a Vanguard with Magia, which is impossible in this deck, you can Soul Charge 3. So she's your main G-Guard. She's really nice. And then I run 1 copy of Jester Demonic Dragon, Wandering Dragon. So most people use him to combo off of your PGs because his skill is when he's placed, you can Soul Charge 1 and then call something from Soul to Guardian Circle. So if you have a vanilla PG in Soul, you can call it to Guardian Circle, which is why I'm kind of considering running the 1 vanilla for Drag Strider. But you can still get like plus 10k shield if you call like one of your crits, or if you put a heal back to Soul with Coulthard. So he's still really nice if you need the extra shield and have a giant Soul to work with. But yeah, and that's my deck profile.